Just imagine, for a second, a place where the world's most powerful people can go. A place where the rules, where shame, and maybe even humanity itself just seem to vanish. Today, we're cracking open the Jeffrey Epstein files. It's a story that pulls back the curtain on a really dark side of the global elite, and it's filled with names you definitely know, and allegations that are, well, hard to even believe. Let's get right into it. You know, there's a powerful line from a film that goes, "This is the gutter, it's better if it remains closed." And for years, that's exactly what the Epstein affair felt like, something better left untouched. But now, boy, is that lid off. And what's crawling out isn't just a story about one man's horrific crimes. It's about a whole system that allegedly pulled in presidents, princes, and even scientific geniuses. So to really wrap our heads around what we're dealing with, we first have to get a sense of the sheer scale of this thing and the epicenter of this deeply disturbing world. I mean, just get this. We're talking about 3.5 million pages of documents, 1.8 million photos. When this trove was finally unsealed, the world was basically forced to look at a reality that, let's be honest, a lot of people would have preferred to keep hidden. Yeah, this isn't just a handful of accusations. We're talking about a literal mountain of evidence. And right at the heart of it all is this place, Little St. James Island. Eyewitness accounts describe it as a private kingdom, a place where all the normal rules of society just didn't apply. It was a spot where immense wealth and power created this kind of vacuum, where horrific acts could allegedly happen right out in the open. Okay, so now let's get to the names. And it's really important to see these people not just as celebrities, but as archetypes. They represent the very pillars of our society. You know, philanthropy, politics, science. And what the files allege about them is pretty jarring. So you take someone like Bill Gates, the man who presented himself as a savior of humanity, right? The files have these draft emails from Epstein himself, claiming Gates got a sexual disease and was practically begging for medicine to hide it from his wife at the time, Melinda. Now, Gates's team calls this a complete fabrication, of course, but his ex-wife has said publicly that his relationship with Epstein was a huge reason for their divorce. It creates this stark, unbelievable contrast between the public image and what's being alleged. Then you jump over to the political sphere. Donald Trump's connection, according to these files, was, well, it was more than just casual. He had 14 different private phone numbers in Epstein's black book and was apparently a frequent guest at Epstein's mansion in Palm Beach. The most shocking claim, though, is an allegation that a foreign sheikh offered Trump his virgin child as a gift and that Trump accepted. His team brushes these off as political propaganda, but the records show a connection that was, pretty deep and lasted a long time. But maybe the name that floored most people was Stephen Hawking, the genius mind who unlocked secrets of the cosmos. The files allege that he was a guest on Little St. James Island, and that he reportedly enjoyed watching unclothed young women. And this just perfectly illustrates the central question here, doesn't it? Was the man who could theorize about black holes somehow lost in his own kind of moral black hole? Or, as some have suggested, was Epstein just using a respected intellectual as a cover to make his whole depraved operation look legitimate? But all of this brings up a really crucial question. It's not just about who was involved, it's about how. How was this alleged global network able to operate for so long, right under all of our noses? Well, the key to the whole operation, it seems, was Ghislaine Maxwell. According to testimony, she perfected this truly predatory method. Here's how it supposedly went down. She'd target young, vulnerable women, girls who needed financial help, and she'd lure them in with promises of paying for their education or getting them a great job. The first step was always a massage for Epstein, which would then escalate into this horrifying cycle of coercion and abuse. A woman preying on other women. But here's the thing. Pleasure might not have been the only thing being traded. The files and witness accounts point to this incredibly sophisticated system of blackmail. The island, Epstein's mansions, they were allegedly filled with secret tunnels and hidden cameras, all designed to capture compromising material on his powerful guests. It basically turned this den of indulgence into a blackmail factory. And this leads us to the big, really uncomfortable question at the heart of all of this. Were these powerful figures all just willing participants in this darkness? Or were some of them caught in a web, blackmailed into staying silent and playing along? The answer is probably a really disturbing mix of both. So, the files are open. The truth is starting to seep out. But what about the aftermath? What happens when denial, power, and the search for justice all collide?
Well, almost immediately, this huge wall of denial just went up. And you start to see the same excuses over and over again from all sides. It's all a political hit job. Those damaging photos are just AI fakes. Being at the parties was just professional networking. Or, oh, that relationship ended years before any of this came out. You see the pattern? A coordinated campaign of deflection.
And that brings us to this, the really sobering reality of it all. Well, Epstein is dead and Maxwell is in prison. Not a single one of the top-tier, powerful people named in these files has faced any real legal consequences. In a system where wealth and influence can so often buy you a get-out-of-jail-free card, the silence from the halls of justice is just deafening.
And so that's where we're left. The truth is out there, but justice is still a huge question mark. These files aren't just a list of names. They represent the murder of the trust we're supposed to have in our leaders. When the people at the very top of society are allegedly stooping to the absolute lowest depths of depravity, that's a failure of our entire civilization. The gutter has been opened. The final question is, what are we going to do about it?